So a question that I want to ask you, Candace,
Yes.
for
and
anyone...
I have no idea what you're going to say, by the way.
She never does, which is kind of fun
That's
for
why I
me.
look a tiny bit scared every time you ask me the question.
I'm like, now that I have you on video,
Yeah.
a round of personal questions. So for people who are new, how is it that a candle or a spray or anything like that can enrich your spiritual life through a candle?
Right.
Like, how is that possible for somebody who's new and is just like, cute marketing tactic, girls?
Okay. Well, I think a lot of people buy our candles, just they like the way they smell.
Mm-hmm.
So like there's nothing wrong with that.
Totally.
But for me, the thing that I find most interesting is the way that the plants can create a shift in the energy of your space.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It happens all the time.
Yeah.
Like most traditions around the world burn plants in some form in order to create a shift in the energy of your space.
Yeah.
So whether that's when you go to like a Catholic church and they use the censer, I think that's what that's called. It's like a ball with holes in it at the end of the chain that the priest like swings, and there's plants in there that are burning, and so the smoke comes out these little holes.
Yeah.
So that's used to create a shift in the energy of your space, obviously. Yeah. Most people are familiar with burning sage or smudge or something like that. A lot of Hindu temples burn different plants for purification before people go into temples. So I think when you put those things together, it's like, oh, it's not that weird. What we're doing with the candles is we're using plants that, when you smell them or you come into contact with them in an aerosolized form, they create a shift of the energy of your space. Everything's electromagnetics. Plants are part of those electromagnetic spectrum. So that's what it's doing. I think that hopefully that answers. Like I can go farther down the path in terms of like why plants have vibrational messages, but we've kind of covered that other places. So if people are interested in that, there's certainly more information on the website that kind of goes into it. But that's why. It's nice to have a candle that smells good, but why not have one that also, does good for your space as well?
And do you maybe want to talk about how we work with the plants to ensure that they do that? Because not every just like candle at Winners, I assume, that has a plant in it is gonna like magically help you if it wasn't.
Candles at Winners even have plants in them?
Maybe not.
Probably not.
They're all like donut shop and coffee.
Mostly synthetic fragrance oils, and that's typically when people have sensitivities to candle fragrances. It's because they've been exposed to synthetic fragrance oils. And it's not weird that your body wouldn't love those because they're just synthetic chemicals. That have a scent profile to them, and they're mimicking something in nature. Nothing wrong with that, but that's what it is. But what I think you're asking is, so the plants that we use, in order to ensure that they do have energetic potency, we're really careful about, if we can, the way they're harvested. So the plants that we harvest ourselves, we make sure that we're harvesting those in honorable ways. And the reason that's important is because that's going to raise and shift the vibration of the plant. Just the same way as if you are looking for an organic tomato, the way it's grown and the way it's cultivated changes entirely its nutritional profile versus a conventionally grown tomato. Same thing when we're looking at the energetic properties of the plants. The way that they're grown, the way that they're harvested is going to have a massive impact on those properties. So, of course, we're not always harvesting all of our own plants. The ones that we can't or don't have any input on that portion of their production, with the plants that we get from other people, what we do is when they arrive, they go through a little prayer ceremony, kind of like a little bit of a cleansing, and then we also Reiki all of the plants. And that's important because that's going to help to raise its energetic profile. So we do what we can at every step along the way to make sure that those plants are going to be able to be effective on the energetic and spiritual levels, not just the like pretty smelling levels. Although there's nothing wrong with that, but
of course.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you for that.
You're welcome.